Okay, so I've pretty much done as much as I think I'm going to do with Dynamesh and all these kind of curved tubes. So I've really hammered him in and bundled up the buns. It looks like he has spaghetti and all sorts of pasta sitting on his head, and he has a bunch of smaller, finer things through here and through here. So from here, I think I'm going to scale these back to the size of the regular face. I gave you a couple pointers in the other video for placing markers. I've actually used his lips on this one and a little marker on his eye as well to help me get this in place when I need to scale it. Okay, so really what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to merge all these into one. It'll come in separate poly groups, so we'll be able to separate these out again when we get back to our main model from our unified kind of enlarged head. And then I'll probably end up subdividing these and just adding a little bit more kind of fine detail like I've done in the hair to them. Okay, so really what we want to do is we want to do a merge visible, and we'll just turn off the big head and you can see what I have, including my two markers here for the lips and the eyes. That's going to help me place this on the original head. So here it goes. Just a simple merge visible will do the job, and you'll see that we have this guy here. And let's just look at the poly groups to see how this came out. Go to draw, and let me turn the poly frame on so it will be nice to me, and let me turn the color back on. So you can see we have unified poly groups for both Dynameshes, and then we have a crazy amount of poly groups for these for all the individual strands. And in fact, probably what we'll want to do at some point when we get back to the other model is to collect these into one poly group so we don't have tons floating around when we split it back up. Okay, so let's just take this, and I'll turn all these guys off because we don't really need to see these anymore, but all our individual components. But we want to append, in fact, let me just go back. I'll turn this guy on, and select him, and then we will append that unified mass that we were just looking at. Okay, so you can see our scaling problem, and this is just going to be a transpose with scale and move. There should be no rotation involved. If you start to rotate, then you're going to really lose alignment with this. So it's actually quite a simple thing to execute, so we're not too worried about it. Okay, so we'll just grab this guy, and we'll just do a transpose scale to start with, and get him in the ballpark of the right size. And then I'm going to place the lips kind of where they need to be. All right, that little cool lip curve that I made. And visually that's getting close. So let me just move the lips into place. I'll just put a little transpose line there, and just grab the middle one. So I'm just going to look to scale this down to the right size as it gets closer. Again, your markers could be anything, but you just want to get them in place and then have a couple other ones on the face somewhere to triangulate it. And really, this is not something I do all the time, but this is out of necessity. Sometimes you just have to solve problems as they arise, and that's what we're doing. Of course, our other option would have been originally to scale up our guy, which probably would have worked fine as well, but hey, we're not that clever, are we? We'll do things the hard way. Okay, so let's just see. I'll just take it from here to there. And we just need to scale this down a little bit still, a little bit more. And you can see we're getting close. And a little translate, perhaps. And we're nearly close enough for this little exercise, eh? Okay, I think that's pretty good. You can see we've got the contour here. This one was a little embedded anyways. When we started, let's just have a look at the lips. Might need a little tweak to the left. We'll just see how all our other things align, and pretty much there's nothing that's so crazy that we can't tweak it now. These line up nicely. Those were the important ones. These seem to all run along the curves that they were intended to. And the front and the back are on the front and the back. So that's good enough. So there we go. That's put back in place. And now let's just do what I was talking about, and we will separate this into its component parts. And first I'm going to save this as a separate version. And I'm going to end up deleting off these larger components that we have as our constructional pieces. Okay, so here we are. I've cleaned up this a little bit. You can see my poly groups that are left are our original guy, the staff, the original eyeball template that I used to smooth these out. Just in case I need to smooth them again, I will have that eyeball around at the correct size. And the last one is hair parts. Okay, so let's just look again at the poly groups on this. And what we want to do probably is to get rid of these two guys. So we'll do some visibility hiding on them. And then these guys are crazy. When you get a lot of Z-spheres together, they make a ridiculous number of poly groups, and I just want to hide these individually so we can treat them as a separate group and unify them. But first I'm going to unify all these kind of stray hairs, okay, so that we can subdivide all these and sculpt them individually as necessary. Bear with me as I work my way through this. I'm trying to go fast and I just miss. I hit one hair. So I'll invert that. Get him. And now I will just do a nice poly groups. Group visible. So we have one poly group there. Now let me invert this. I'll get rid of that. Get rid of that, get rid of that. I'll do a group visible here. Get rid of that, and I'll do another group visible here. So there we are. We're into our distinct poly groups, and that's great. Now we can go up here and separate these actually into individual groups. So do group split, and you'll see a bunch of parts reemerge. So there we go. And from here we can go in and subdivide these as we want to continue to sculpt. And I'm going to do revisions on both of these and a little bit on here. And then, like I mentioned before, you probably, once you've sculpted all this up, depending on your eventual mode of rendering, if you stay natively in ZBrush, you can keep the density as is. If you're planning to take it out somewhere, you may want to optimize this with Decimation Master because it can get a little heavy. Okay, so that's where I'm going to go with this. Okay, thanks very much. Hope this was kind of helpful to show you how to get this back into place.